I was taken to the head of the unit for interrogation. They were accusing me of murder. 10 men beat me for an hour with their batons. My 3 front teeth had cracked and I was bleeding. For 4 days, I was hit over and over again.
Because of the importance of these complaints, allegations of torture and ill treatment need to be responded to very promptly by national human rights institutions, and the staff must conduct these investigations with skill and support from the national human rights institutions to make sure that this function is undertaken effectively. The first step is to interview the person that's alleging that they've received torture, and obviously the staff need to exercise this role with a great deal of skill and sensitivity.
And you have to respect the fact that people are actually taking a great leap of faith to talk with you. And especially when they're talking about having been tortured, that's a very difficult thing for them to do emotionally. But moreover, the fact that there's somebody out there who did that to them, or they're alleging that this is so, that puts them additionally at risk for the future. And so one has to be extraordinarily careful.
So it should not be an interrogation, it should be a friendly interview. But what I want is an honest account of what happened. And it is only possible if the people have trust in me. I might give them the business card, I give them this description, what I am, what my mandate is, what I can, what I cannot do. But then it's of course very much the way you're interacting. If you develop this trust, if you stick in the normal methods of carrying out these interviews, you're double-checking certain answers, etc., then you get a true story. If you interview a person who really is traumatized and who went through hell, then you have to build it up very, very carefully, and that might take 2-3 hours.
Usually when we visit prisons and we get complaints, the way we handle those complaints is, first of all, we need to get the information as accurate as possible with a description of the kind of torture or ill treatment they're talking about. So we try to get the information, where you put in awkward positions, for example, were you beaten, with what were you beaten. Sometimes they prevent them from sleeping. How did they do that if that person has been tortured? Or sometimes in some incidents they are treated in hospitals. Therefore, we have medical reports, we have pictures that photos that we get, and we have the information from other inmates. We can verify the information from different sources, and this is a way where you can build the case.
We take the complaints that we receive, whether it comes from the National Preventive Mechanism or by an individual, we take them very seriously here. We just go into the cells, we sit down on their beds, we talk to them as if very closely, so that we could build a trust with them. And we just tell them what we could do for them, what we can't do for them. From then onwards, whatever we have, we proceed with in order to get any evidences. And if the evidences are enough to prosecute, we have the mandate to do so as well. But to some extent they have a fear of reprisal from the officials. Usually for the newer inmates, if they are not very familiar, they don't know what might happen to them if they made a complaint. And they are very reluctant to even to write to us. And in order to avoid any reprisals, we have an understanding with the DPRS, Penitentiary Department, and as well as the police services, that letters addressed to the Human Rights Commission should not be open, and letters from the Human Rights Commission to the inmates should not be open as well.
When we investigate a case and sometimes they are afraid to complain, we convince them, and then after we finished our investigations, also we come back to the prison. We ask the same prison if he was subjected to any kind of, let's say, ill treatment or etc. And we follow up, you know.
Sometimes the concerns of the prisoners are related to being afraid that if they lodge their complaint, they will be even severely beaten or tortured after that. But if we are aware of those incidents, then we definitely would pursue the case even more strongly, and we tell them that we don't lodge the complaint, and if we allow that to continue, then you are causing more damage or danger to your own self and to other prisoners who are being detained by the different security agencies. The thing is that I've been personally in many of those visits. I feel how scared the prisoners are to speak out. And that is one of the constraints. And despite our assurances, they might prefer just to go through the process without complaining and hoping that they will be released.